Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The program will begin in a few minutes. Please take your seats.
Don't the moon look lonesome shining through the trees? Don't the moon look lonesome shining through the trees? Don't your house look lonesome when your baby pack up to leave? Sent for you yesterday and here you come today. Sent for you yesterday and here you come today. You can't love me, baby, and treat me that way.
The program is about to begin. Thank you for taking your seat. welcome to the Shepherd Center Central's inaugural 70 over 70 Awards Celebration. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage today's MC, Kathy Quinn from Fox 4 News.
This is wonderful. This is so great. And what I'm so excited about is all the honorees are in a yearbook. So I have my Sharpie for later on. I want you all to sign my yearbook. Can you believe it, a yearbook? Isn't that awesome? It's wonderful. This is a beautiful event. I'd like to tell you all it is my pleasure to make history with you today. Kansas City's inaugural 70 over 70 award celebration. Today, we come together as a city to honor some of the region's most inspiring individuals and groups, all age 70 or older, who generously give of themselves and help strengthen our community each and every day, every one of you. Today's program is also a benefit for Shepherd Center Central, an organization that provides vital programs and services that help both active and homebound older adults in our community live healthy, engaged, and independent lives. As you can see at this incredible event today, Shepherd Center is dedicated to changing the conversation around aging in our city, a conversation that each of us should have a voice in. So friends, be prepared to be inspired today. I was told by John Still, get your Kleenexes ready. You're gonna need them. These outstanding honorees and speakers will undoubtedly leave you thinking differently about aging and, most importantly, about what you can do to help ensure that our community is a great community for all ages, all ages. Now I'd like to welcome to the podium John Still, Shepherd Center's board president.
Thank you, Kathy. Good morning. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for joining us this afternoon to celebrate this year's 70 over 70 honorees. My name is John Still, and I am proud to be the board chair of an organization whose outreach touches all the lives of many older adults in our city each day. Today, I am proud to say that I'm participating in this brand new tradition in our community, one that we hope will inspire everyone to think a little differently about aging. Congratulations to all of our honorees. Today, we commend you and celebrate you for your incredible contributions to our community. Thank you for all that you do. And all of the lives that you touch. And thank you for helping shine a light on the positive impact that those of us, me included, 70 and older, still have on the world around us. I would like to introduce Shepherd Center Central's Executive Director, Pam Seymour. Please welcome her to the stage.
Thank you, John. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the inaugural 70 over 70 event. Mayor James, it's so good to see you in the house today. Thank you for being here. We are delighted to see all 700 of you here today to celebrate these 91 inspiring honorees aged 70 to 97. And thank goodness there isn't a bad seat in this room because, as you can imagine, making seating assignments for 91 honorees and all of their fans who wanted to sit near them was quite the effort. So I thank Jill Farrell. Jill, where are you? Back in the back. She's our staff member who managed all the seating. And so just thank you so much, Jill. We really appreciate it. So our goals this afternoon are two. The first is to honor and celebrate the inaugural 70 over 70 honorees who are making extraordinary contributions in our community after age 70. It's about time, don't you think? And to engage and inspire you to join us in our mission and vision for the future, where we as a community can change the conversation around aging. We are, after all, better together. So how did this idea start, and how were the 70 chosen? I am thrilled that one of our own, Kelly Jander, is the creative mind behind this extraordinary idea. Kelly serves as our marketing and fund development manager here at Shepherd Center. Kelly, please stand and come forward. So our goal with this event was to reach and involve as many areas of the community as possible in this effort. So that with the help of our great friend and community leader, Kathy Boyer-Seychel, Kathy, where are you out there? Raise your hand. 13 community-minded individuals from the 9-county metro area were selected to help spread the word about the call for nominations in their communities and to serve on the selection committee to review the nominations. More than 150 nominations were received, making the selection committee's job very difficult. Each honoree was judged by 2 committee members and ranked on the same scoring system. Making the top 70 or not was for many nominees just a 1-point difference. So that gives you an idea of how impressive all of the nominations were. You might have noticed we also added 5 couples or groups to the honoree list. That's because so many people contacted us to say there's no way they could nominate just one person from a couple or a group. So 5 more spaces were added in that category. I'd like to point out that the addition to this category is a testament to the humility of these honorees and the spirit of collaboration that we find in all of them. For most of them, the focus is never on the me, but rather on the we. A very special thank you to AARP National for being our platinum sponsor of this event. We would also like to thank all our other sponsors and table hosts. Please take a look at your program for the list, as there are many. Without them and the many volunteers that were involved in this effort, this would not have happened. Thank you all. And now, it is my honor to introduce our first speaker for today, Joan Ruff, the National Chair of AARP's Board of Directors. Joan will help us understand why changing the conversation is so important and why she is passionate about helping make Kansas City a better place for all ages. And she lives right here in Kansas City, so who knew? Everyone, please help me welcome Joan Ruff to the stage.
Thank you, Pam, for that wonderful introduction, and it is fantastic to be here today. I mean, I remember a few months ago I was having breakfast with Kelly Jander and Mark Johnston, and they were talking about this event and asking me what I thought of it, et cetera, and I said, man, you had me at hello. This is fantastic. I also want to say that I am so excited about the people who are nominated and who have been honored. So many of you, when I looked through the list, were my mentors, my inspiration, and my business colleagues. And I have to say, you have been a fantastic group of honorees, and I thank you. So what I want to talk today about is the longevity economy for a little while, to kind of give you highlights of where we are and what some of the issues are. So as you probably know, over the last few minutes, that we are definitely in the midst of an incredible shift to an aging population. This will fundamentally change the way we think, live, and do business. This sea change is really the result of increasing life expectancies, lower birth rates, and declining immigration. Let's look a little bit at the data. I think you know that 10,000 people a day are turning 65. The life expectancy for someone born in 1900 was about 47 years. If you're born today, it's closer to 80 to 81 years. And the first person to live to be 125 is alive today. The fastest growing age group is those who are 85 and older. So at AARP, just like at Shepherd Center, we celebrate growing older. And we talk a lot about the power and promise of people over 50, about the opportunities and not just the challenges of our rapidly aging society. And as Pam referred to it as changing the conversation around aging, we at AARP refer to it as disrupt aging. So let's think a bit about the opportunities. More than 111 million people in the United States are over 50. The annual economic activity of this group totals more than 7.6 trillion. Now just think about this. If we were a separate economy, it would rank third in the world behind the US and China. The 50-plus consumer represents only 35% of the population, but spends 50 cents of every dollar. We refer to this vast economic power of our aging population as a longevity economy. But unfortunately, most businesses still target the 18 to 20-year-old market. They are missing out on incredibly rich opportunities to meet the needs of older consumers. And I would say that we as a society are remiss if we do not recognize the incredible opportunities and challenges of this longevity economy. Let's start with innovation. Innovating for this group in this growing economy would seem to be a natural win-win, both for investors and for the 50-plus consumers who will benefit from innovative solutions geared to meet their own personal needs. So one asks, why aren't businesses really targeting this market? Well, in part, that's because it's young people who are designing new products and services, and frankly, their frame of reference is not geared to the needs and wants of the 50-plus, let alone the 70 or 80-plus. And many organizations and people are starting to say, how do I get those individuals to understand how I feel? And that there's a lot going on in that area. So what do the 50-plus want? In our research at AARP, they want to travel, first and foremost, generally with their grandkids. They want to be active, very active. They want to be involved in their communities, and they want to make a difference. Another very important thing is they want to age in their own communities, and they want personalized services. While some companies are stepping up to this challenge and opportunity, we still have a ways to go. And a lot of not-for-profits are really stepping up. But there is another area there. For example, if we make it easier to get in and out of a car, we may make it easier to get to the doctor once you're in the car or the bus, but there's still a problem if a sidewalk we're stepping onto is crumbling, or if you're not able to get from your house to the front porch out to the street. With these challenges also come, opportunities also come some challenges, from healthcare, long-term care, to financial security and workplace concerns. We have started talking about not only lifespans, but health spans. That gap between life expectancy and healthy life expectancy. And the larger that gap, the more significant the economic implications, especially when it comes to healthcare and caregiving. In the US, that health span gap is now 5.7 years. And unfortunately, our life expectancy is increasing at a much faster rate than our healthy life expectancy. Demand for long-term care services continues to increase, and it is estimated that 70% of adults who turn 65 in 2016 will eventually need some form of long-term care and support services. And most older Americans increasingly want those services at home. Much, though, of the home healthcare assistance today is being provided by 40 million unpaid family members and friends. And they provide approximately $470 billion a year in free care. Again, while that care is free to the individual being cared for, it does come at a price to the caregivers. It comes at a price of substantial financial, medical, and emotional burdens, a challenge that we do need to look and solve. So, again, we all know that growing older is great, but if it won't do us much good to age if we can't afford to do it, if we can't afford to live the life we want. We increasingly need to focus to save for a longer retirement. But the other side of that coin often means that we need to focus on how to continue making money. The American workforce is aging, and that trend will continue. It is common to have 4 to 5 generations working together, and research shows that intergenerational workforces are much more creative and more productive than those who aren't intergenerational. The 50 plus are focusing not only what they need, but what they want, and instead of planning for 15 or more years of traditional retirement, they are looking forward to several decades of engaging and rewarding life. And for many of us, that goes back right to the workforce, and for many, into entrepreneurship. Continued participation in the workforce is great for the economy and for business, because when older people work, they spend more money, the economy grows, and we create more jobs. Today, I would like to focus a little bit on an incredible and inspirational woman, Dr. Ethel Percy Andrus. She founded AARP 60 years ago this year, and at that time, she was 76 years old. She was ahead of her time when it came to understanding the opportunities and challenges of an aging society. She knew that to capitalize on the opportunities and to meet the challenges of an aging population, it would require continuing innovation and partnerships among all stakeholders. No one organization can do it all. It requires federal, state, and local governments, non-for-profits, private businesses, and individuals. She was a person who epitomizes the strength and courage that all of today's honorees bring to the table. First, though, let me tell you just a quick bit about AARP, our organization. Our mission is essentially as it was when Dr. Andrus founded us, to ensure that people can live with dignity and purpose regardless of their age. We continue to fight for those causes that Dr. Andrus espoused, including financial security, health security, and personal fulfillment. Today, AARP is the largest membership organization in the world with more than 38 million members, age 50 and over. And more than 1 million of those members live in either Kansas or Missouri. So back to Ethel. She was born in 1881. She began her career as a school teacher. She went on to become the first woman to run a major urban high school in California. She saw it as her mission to empower and inspire her students and their parents, many of whom were immigrants. She spent 28 years at Lincoln High in Los Angeles, working to bring opportunity to all of her students, regardless of their station in life. She retired in 1944 at the age of 62 to become a caregiver for her mother. However, just before she retired, one incident transformed her life. One day she got word that a retired teacher was in poor health and needed help. So she went to see her. Instead of finding the retired teacher in the nice bungalow at the address she was given, Ethel discovered that woman living in a falling down, windowless chicken coop in the adjoining lot. Because she could not afford anything better on her meager pension and still pay for health care and food. That retired teacher, who was forced to live in a chicken coop after a lifetime of service, had a profound impact on Ethel. It shaped her mission and instilled her determination to advocate, first for teachers in California, then teachers nationally, and eventually for all of us as we age to what is AARP today. So let's think for a minute what this one woman accomplished. She created a Retired Teachers Association, first in California, then the nation. And then she expanded it to a national organization dedicated to dignity and opportunity for all as we age, what is now AARP with its 38 million members. And in her spare time, she planned and got funding for retired teacher residences, started a magazine that today has the largest circulation of any magazine in the world. She launched a discount prescription drug company service that was way ahead of its time, and she advocated for the 50 plus and for laws and policies that help all of us as we age. So Dr. Andrus would have loved to have been here today and to have worked with the Shepherd Center and to have been part of it. She would have marveled at the breadth of your work, from housing to nutrition to fitness, arts, and the education. Your commitment in all of these areas and more makes a difference each and every day in so many people's lives. Ethel also would have loved to have known and partnered with each of today's honorees. She, like each of you today, the honorees, was a catalyst who believed deeply in the power of individuals to improve lives and to lead the kind of social change that would benefit everyone. She knew that when we view aging as a win, we all win. Finally, Dr. Andrus once wrote, "The human contribution is the essential ingredient. It is only in the giving of oneself to others that we truly live." Each of today's honorees embodies that spirit and power of human contribution and the giving of oneself for the benefit of others. You are the new image of powerful and inspired aging. So to both those honorees who I have known over the years, and to those honorees that I have yet to have the privilege of meeting, I just want to let you know that you have all inspired me to be a much better person, and for that, I thank you.
Thank you so very much. It just goes to show you when you talk about AARP that many years ago, and Kelly Jander and all the ladies and gentlemen who put this together, what one simple idea and a goal, they only expected a few hundred people. How many do we have? 700 people here today? There you have it, the power. Kansas City, we take great pride in being an attractive city for millennials and entrepreneurs. Wouldn't it be great if we could also strive to be a great city for older adults or for older entrepreneurs? Our next speaker will challenge us to think about just that. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored to introduce to you Paul Tasner. He is the co-founder and CEO of Pulpworks, Inc. Now, his company, Pattern Packaging Technology, has won numerous awards and has helped reduce waste in our landfills. His TED Talk, Becoming an Entrepreneur at guess what age? 66 years of age, was named one of the top 5 TED Talks that will change your perspective on aging. And thank you so much, Paul, for coming all the way from San Francisco. Thank you so much.
I was afraid I'd have to look at my portrait for the entire speech, so mercifully I don't. But I did want to share a little backstory with you about 70 over 70. I did give a TED Talk, as you just heard. It was about 18 months ago. And the closing line of my TED Talk was, let's make 70 over 70 as commonplace as 30 under 30. And the audience applauded wildly, and everything was lovely. And then after my talk, some of my friends and colleagues encouraged me to trademark the name 70 over 70, which I did. And so I'm here to share with you that you are all in violation of my trademark. We'll try to work something out. Thank you very much for inviting me. It is truly an honor. I have several topics to cover with you today. Entrepreneurism, ageism, and the plastic pollution of our planet. They don't all seem to be related to each other, but they are related to each other through me. So I think this will become clear as I speak. I am a proud first-time entrepreneur. I was 66 years old when I launched my business. The business is called Pulpworks. I'm 73 years old now. Prior to that time, I had spent 40 years in various supply chain management roles with several companies, large and small. My last employer struggled through the recession and reduced the workforce several times. Eventually, that included me. I was fired at the age of 64. So I pursued some consulting opportunities. I mean, I had 40 years of experience. I had good contacts, and I needed to work. But I had no passion for it, and I felt the need to do something about which I felt passion. Frankly, I felt as if time was running out, in a sense. So Pulpworks turned out to be an ideal concept for me. It was entrepreneurial, but it was also deeply rooted in my own employment experience. A little bit about the business. We design and manufacture sustainable packaging for consumer products. Our packaging is composed entirely of waste, paper and agricultural waste. And our mission is the replacement of unnecessary plastic packaging with compostable and biodegradable alternatives. And I underscore unnecessary. I mean, some plastic packaging is obviously wonderful and necessary. Let's talk about waste just for a second. I realize you're all eating, so I don't want to dwell on it. We'll talk about plastic waste. So just the U.S. comprises 5% of our planet's population. We create 25% of our planet's waste. That includes 70 billion pounds of CO2 equivalent every year. So you might think perhaps we should be better recyclers. That's actually a lot of bull. I think we're good recyclers. People want to recycle. We don't have an infrastructure for all of our recycling. And we should be better designers of packaging so that we don't create as many wasteful, disposable, single-use plastic packages. The burden's not on us. It's on business and government. It's not on us as citizens. We need to replace unnecessary plastic packaging. You're probably familiar from watching the news from time to time. There's an island in the Pacific. Actually, there are islands in all of the planet's oceans. There's an island in the Pacific. It's called the North Pacific Gyre. Some say it's twice the size of Texas. It's all plastic. And that plastic washes up on beaches on the west coast of the U.S., particularly in Hawaii. there's a landfill in Rio de Janeiro that is the size of 247 football fields and a 30-story building. And I think you're all familiar with the fact that China has just decided they don't want our waste anymore. They create enough of their own, and they get waste from other sources as well. So our plastic recycling on this planet was at 9.1%, which is really dreadful. But it's going to get worse. It's going to be in the 4% range this year, and next year it's predicted to be 2.9%. That is beyond bad. I mean, that is a tragedy. So it's not its production of plastic that needs to be really monitored carefully. Here's how profound our corporate addiction to plastic is. In the course of business, we had a meeting with I won't mention their name, but they're a large cosmetic company, starts with the letter L, and they're based in Paris. So, it was a very good meeting, actually. We were kind of excited to see where it would go, and at the end of the meeting, the principal person meeting with us said, "We love what you're doing, but if your packaging is 1/10 of a penny more than what we're currently buying, we can't use it." I was really profoundly shocked. 1/10 of a penny, and they couldn't figure a way to work it out. Again, last year I was privileged to spend 4 months in New York City as what's called a TED resident. And on June 6th of last year, I delivered a TED Talk on these very same topics. I've been talking to anyone who will listen about my business since 2011, but since then, I now talk about entrepreneurism and ageism, and frankly, I know a lot less about those subjects than I do about packaging. I've had invitations ranging from my granddaughter's Girl Scout troop, it was a really tough crowd, and the World Trade Center in Moscow. I talk about the challenges of launching a venture as a senior citizen. It was my first attempt at being an entrepreneur. I had 40 years of experience, but none as an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs look for investors, generally. My business is self-funded. We didn't choose that. We simply couldn't raise the money. We were turned down many, many times. Too old, sadly, was often the excuse, either unspoken and sometimes spoken. I live in San Francisco. Investors have much better opportunities than a company turning garbage into packaging in San Francisco. At least they think they do. I think they all believe they'll be the next lead investor in the next Facebook or Twitter. And that's a tough mindset to compete with, for dollars at least. So, I had geography, category, experience, and my age all running against me, frankly. I want to share with you a couple of my favorite encounters with investors, and I say favorite really in quotes. They're only favorites because they were so profound. They certainly weren't positive experiences. The first one was an investor group that we pitched our story to, and we got a follow-up message from one of the investors in the audience, and that was pretty exciting. That hadn't happened until then, and he asked if I would come to his office and talk further about the opportunity. obviously, I was very, very excited. I got to his office, and he proceeded to lecture me on doing what I was doing. Things like, you're too old to be doing this. You should be playing golf, enjoying your retirement. And I really don't like golf, and I need an income. So that's not a great path for me. I asked him why he invited me to his office just to lecture me this way. And here's the interesting thing about this story. I think you can all relate to this. You know, when you have an encounter with someone and it's a bit tense, and often you don't think of saying what you really wanted to say, or maybe you're just too diplomatic to say it, but and then you think of it the next night or 2 nights later. Why didn't I say that, or why didn't I say that? That happens all the time. I'm sure it's happened to everyone here. Well, that didn't happen this time. I did think of what I wanted to say, and I'm really proud to share it with you. I said to him, you could have sent me an email. He said, well, I thought I would make a more compelling argument if I had you here in front of me. And really? And he said, well, you're a local guy. What difference does it make? And that's when I said, well, I'll tell you, here's the difference. If you had sent me an email, I would have been disappointed, maybe even angry, but in a week or 2 or 4, I would have forgotten about it and forgotten about you. But because you basically interrupted my day to humiliate me, I'm going to remember what an ass you are for the rest of my life. He was older than me. Honestly, he was older than me. The other anecdote, it was the last time we pitched for investment capital. I remember it very clearly. It was at the offices of LinkedIn in Mountain View, California. And I was asked to tell my story along with 2 young fellas, both of whom were younger than my youngest son. But they had interesting ventures. They were, of course, tech ventures. And we all told our story, and then the leader of the group said, I'd like to ask you gentlemen to stand behind this table, and I'd like to ask all the investors in the room to line up in front of the entrepreneur that you have more questions for. Everyone in that room lined up in front of those 2 young guys. There was nobody standing in front of me. And it really felt humiliating. The young fella next to me said something very encouraging. I think you've got a cool idea, dude. And I said, thanks. Well, maybe I should come to you for funding. But honestly, it was really humiliating, and I made a pledge to myself after that evening that I just wasn't going to do this anymore. I don't think, and I haven't heard it said here yet this evening, but I've heard it said many times, that older entrepreneurs have an amazing success rate, and it makes perfect sense. I read that our success rate is 70% when launching a new venture. And that number is way smaller for younger entrepreneurs, which is also understandable. I mean, 70% success rate, that's, we're like the Golden State Warriors of entrepreneurs. Seriously. Well, the money we were going to raise was to build a manufacturing facility, and we obviously couldn't do that. So we turned to outsourcing our manufacturing, and I turned to people that I knew from my previous life. And I'm delighted to share with you that two of those partners of ours, both overseas, are the reason that I'm able to stand here and tell this story today. They told us that we could pay them after we got paid. And that's pretty major when you're in business. And that kind of trust and generosity has created a lifelong bond between us, and they will always be our partners as a result of that. Just as a postscript, we are doing fairly well. We have well-known customers: Google, Campbell's Soup, Casper Sleep, Burt's Bees, Groupon, Energizer. They're not all huge projects, but we're pretty excited. My TED Talk has been translated into 28 languages and has reached about 2 million people. I've received literally thousands of responses from around the world. Heartwarming messages, all of them. Some of them really heartbreaking messages. People of all ages, but primarily seniors, telling me that I've inspired them. I got one that actually implied that I saved his life. I mean, that is overwhelming. Honestly, I don't even know how to begin to wrap my arms around it. That is really overwhelming to, one day you're this person, you give a speech, and the next day you're apparently another person. I don't know how else to describe it, but I just had no idea what to expect about stepping out on that stage at TED. I know if you're like me, you probably feel fortunate if you inspire someone, a child, a friend, in the course of your life. Can you imagine inspiring dozens, perhaps even hundreds of people? It's really humbling. I mean that, profoundly humbling. And I can honestly say that I am doing the most rewarding and challenging work of my life right now, and I'm incredibly grateful to be able to do that. I've had good jobs throughout my career, but this is by far the best work I've ever done, and it's a wonderful feeling. I'd like to tell you, Kansas City is actually near and dear to me. My wife grew up here, and she went to St. Luke's for her nursing degree, and oh wow. And her first job was at Children's Mercy Hospital. She's very proud of that, very proud of that. My oldest son lives here, he lives in Lawrence and works in Leawood, and we've got extended family all over the area. Honestly, I even like the Royals. And also Kansas City, obviously, you all know, Kansas City's home to the Kaufman Foundation, an amazing organization. Kaufman's 1 Million Cups program, designed to educate, engage, and inspire entrepreneurs, is truly superb. I'd like to share with you a couple of kind of pearls of wisdom that I've encountered on this new journey of mine. So if you give me a second. Eric Erickson, developmental psychologist, has said, as we grow older, hunger for meaning animates us, making us more alive. Creating something new isn't just a nice thing to do, it's a psychological imperative. The urge to create, to generate a life that counts, impels people to innovate even when it's lonely and scary. And another marvelous quote, jazz musician Herbie Hancock, an icon, your youthful spirit is not something that goes away as you get older or even diminishes as you get older. What happens is you let it go to sleep. So many people just buy into being old. You can age, of course, we all age, but you can keep that youthful spirit alive. And I want to share, I think, one of the most interesting messages that I got in after my TED Talk, because it was really an unusual one. It was from an insurance company, a very large life insurance company based in the Netherlands. They're known as Transamerica here in the US, but worldwide they're called Aegon. And I got a call from two researchers, and we had a rather lengthy conversation. The content of it was they wanted me to know that what I was doing was the absolute best way to flourish in your senior years. And I said, really? Talking to colleagues in China at 3 in the morning is the best thing to do? He said, obviously. So, no, they insisted that, starting a venture and with the challenges that it brings is just incredibly wonderful food for your spirit. Exercise is good, of course. It's essential for cardiopulmonary health and also for your spirit. I know that for a fact. But to really feed your mind, your spirit, beginning something challenging like this is really marvelous. So, ladies and gentlemen, launch a venture and feed your spirit. Thank you.
Brilliant story, Mr. Tasner. Thank you so much. Round of applause again. It's kind of a reminder of what we're all doing here today. Clearly, 70 isn't what it used to be. His story is truly exceptional, but as we're here today because people like Paul are no longer the exception, the honorees, so excited to talk about them, the people we're celebrating are proof that times have changed and that some of the most important, influential years of our lives happen after 70. And before we get going, I have a note here from some folks who have worked on this luncheon. They wanted to recognize the spark behind this 70 over 70 in Kansas City. Her name is Kelly Jander. Where are you, Kelly? This is not in the script. I was just handed this. She started with a great idea. She was able to dream big enough, and the way I met her and the way she asked me to do this is that she was nominated for a Pay It Forward, which is where we give $400 away at Fox 4. And so little $400 it was incredible to meet her that day and all her enthusiasm. And apparently she had enough of this enthusiasm, motivation to bring this to life, this luncheon with all these people, the beginning of a great thing. She led the entire effort, start to finish, leading, selling, recruiting, promoting, cajoling, organizing, managing, and working tirelessly. Kelly Jander was, yes, the unstoppable driving force that has made this possible. Round of applause. Where are you, Kelly? Kelly didn't expect this. Come on down. Run, Kelly. We're on the clock, you told me. Just respond. People think you're wonderful. This is Kelly. And why, just very quickly, I know it's not on script, why did this become an idea for you? Explain.
You know, we have the opportunity at Shepherd Center to every day work with some of the most incredible older adults. I have had the privilege of being inspired by so many people. Shepherd Center, we are fortunate because so many of our volunteers are retired. They're over the age of 70. When I started, Pam Seymour, our director, said, Kelly, people don't want to fund aging. Aging isn't sexy. That's what she said. You know, people are interested in children and they're interested in animals, but aging isn't something that people care about. And to put that in perspective, only 2% of national corporate and foundation giving goes to aging services. So I said, you know, I can't make it sexy, but I can make it interesting, because it is. And so that's why we're here today. We're here to celebrate and honor all of the people who are making this such a great city, who have already made this a great city, and who continue to do so. And after you watch our honoree video, you will see that all of us can do more, and that's the story that we wanted to tell, and we're better doing it together. So, put on the spot, that is really the reason behind. I hope that everyone leaves here thinking differently about aging and thinking about what it is that you as an individual can do to help make our city a great place for everyone to age better. So thanks for being here.
And who remembers Marilyn May? Fabulous Marilyn May. If aging isn't sexy, baloney, look at Marilyn May. She's one of my idols. I love her dearly. Let's take a look now at a video of some of our wonderful honorees. Get your tissues ready.
I think it's remarkable that anybody would think that I'm remarkable. It's just deeply gratifying to look out and see that all of us are really in this together. I have a strong social chaos theory that one small event can really trigger a series of events so that a person or persons can end up in a much different place just because of that one small event.
I don't know that I inspire anybody else, but I suppose in a way that I've talked to a lot of people that have started doing things that weren't active in anything before, because they say, well, if you're going to live this long and doing things, maybe I should be doing something. Somebody suggested Meals on Wheels, and that was 31 years ago, and I've been doing it ever since. It's important that they have somebody, and I have the time, I have the energy, I have the ability to drive, and so I do that. That's just one of the things that I'd like to do, and I enjoy it. There's a need. A lot of the people that I go to, I'm the only person they talk to all day long, the only person they see.
When I came to United States, I had a trouble getting friends. Not because I was unfriendly, but I could not speak English well. So people thought I was very strange because I was quiet and I was kind of standoffish. That was a total misunderstanding. And so, but then gradually I learned to speak English. I gained more friends. Ever since, friendship is very important. And whenever somebody is lonely by themselves, I try to go to that person and talk to them, because some people are lonely, and so you need a friend. And more the friends you have, the better it is. So this is when I encourage the friendship. Whenever they ask me to go to different organizations to speak Japan, I'm it. 私はみんなを助けることができます。
When I talk to students now, the first day of class, and say, why are you here? Well, this is something I always wanted to do, but my career was medicine or law or engineering, or I was an architect, and I never really had time to paint or draw or get better at it, practice, and that's why they're there. It's important to me that they can continue to or begin to do what they always wanted to do. Teachers are so important. Because they will continue to believe in you. And that's the most important thing for young people, I think.
I am a quiet activist. I don't need to be known, but I just do believe that my voice can register, and the people who agree say, come on, we'll join you. And the people who disagree are willing to have a discussion, and I am open to any of that. I convinced them that if we didn't try, we would not get it. We may not be successful with everything, but we couldn't get it if we didn't try. Now, when I talk about Kansas City, and if you ask me about loving it, I'll tell you what I say. If it were water, they couldn't pull me out.
My word is hero. I think that's laying it on a little thick. I owe so much to so many people that the least I could do was try to give a little of that back in my own way as opportunity presented itself through the years.
I volunteer at the family court. I keep children while parents go into the court. I go to them and hug them and say it's gonna be all right. Mama's just gonna be busy for a while. She'll be fine. If they come back again, they remember that I'm Grandma. They come running in and, Grandma, Grandma. And I said, be careful, Grandma will fall. And then they get real gentle and want to help Grandma.
There are still people in need, from little kids on up to people older than I am. And if there's an opportunity that you can help them in any way, or I can help them, that it's worth the time and the effort.
What drives me is knowing that there are things to be done.
It's not about keeping busy. It's about doing something that you really believe in.
It makes me feel good when I get up and get down to my work site and do things. It really does. I mean, you really feel good. You just don't know.
Don't be selfish. Think of other people and spread the kindness.
Our purpose, or let me say my purpose here, is to just kind of help somebody else along their way, because I can and I should.
Beautiful. I knew you needed the tissues for those. So now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to announce the 91 reasons that we are here today. We have a long list, and you wonderful people, I know you're very humble, but if you want to wave your hand, because I'm going to try to read the names, because Kelly's got me on a time frame here. Here we go. It's in alphabetical order by first name. Alan Matney. Alvin Brooks. Ambrose Buckman. Ann Stern. Annabeth Servaugh. Ann Massa. Augusta Wilbon. Barb Fay. Barb Friedman. Barbara Holzmark. Bobby Faulkner. Carol Evans. Carol Jean Barta. Carol Myers. Carol Sater. Carol and Cornelia. Debbie Shear. Donna Bolin. Donna Gould Cohen. Dorothy Johnson. Dr. Doug Hatbridge. Dr. Mani Mani. Ed Matheny. Elaine Hintz. Elnora Tellis Jefferson, Erwin Abrams, Jean Bruns, Gordon G., Greg Lear, Jacqueline Shepard, Jim Mitchell, Jim Bogle, Joanne Collins, Joanne Jones, it's her birthday today, it's her birthday. Judy Sherry, Julie Young, Karen Bartz, Catherine Horge Smith, Larry McMullen, Lois Lakey, Lorene James, Lucille Barton, Lucille Tutera, Mamie Curry Hughes, Mark Gingrich, Marley Klum, Martha Zerschke, Mary Long, Mary Brink, Mary Kay McPhee, Max DeWeese, Melinda Minks, Mike Burkell, Monique Lewis, Nancy Bazell, Pat Boston, Phyllis Stevens, Rob Givens, Rusty Ryan, Sachi Stroder, whose daughter is a photographer, one of the only female photographers in the city for many years, Yumi Stroder. She's at another station, we won't talk about it, but her mom's pretty cool. Sally Jenkins, Sandra Mellinger, Sharon Goff, Sharon Hunter-Poosh, Shirley Legg, Sue Dance, Sue Miller, Sue Ellen Freed, Thomas David Bricker. Go back. Go back down, please. I missed a name. I love doing that. Yes, Reverend Dr. Tex Sample. And now the couples, duos, and teams, Bob and Jody Ryder. Where are you? Mickey and Bonnie Swade. Milt and Burl Magel. The MLM Christmas Store ladies, Pat Welsh and Betty Crows. The MLM Minor Home Team Repair, Arlen Boyert, Barry Crispin, Bill Tiemann, Bob Lowe, Bob Wright, Dave Dankenbring, Glenn Zumble, Ken White, Leroy Zimmerman, Mark Van Auken, Rick Johnson, Ron Meyer, and Tim Thomas. There you have Kansas City's first class, 2018 70/70. Big round of applause. Raise your hands, 70/70. Where are you? Raise your hands. There they are. Woohoo!
Wow. That's all I can say is wow. That's fantastic. Congratulations to you all. Aren't the photos wonderful? Thank you to Tom Sturkowitz, sitting over here on my right. Please stand, Tom. He's the master behind all these lovely photographs. We thank you so much. While it's great to see their individual photos and read their bios, the collective impact that these honorees have made on this community is impressive and important. In the nonprofit world, most of everything we do is gauged by impact, determines success. Impact for the organization, for the community, the individuals, for the families served. These 91 honorees volunteer with 206 local nonprofit organizations, including ours, and contribute 59,088 hours of volunteer service annually. Yeah, give them a clap. That's amazing. And what does that mean to us in dollars and cents? This equates to 28.4 full-time employees. Full-time employees. Using just minimum wage as a baseline, this equates to nearly $500,000. Another way of looking at it is that these honorees equate to an entire small business whose sole purpose is to help others and improve our community. Let's give them another round of applause. At Shepherd Center, we know firsthand how important these honorees' contributions are to our community and to each of the organizations they serve. Our mission is to empower midlife and older adults to live healthy, engaged, and independent lives. We depend on volunteers and could not deliver the services we do without our volunteers. For us, Shepherd Center Central, last year, 750 dedicated volunteers contributed 84,579 hours of service. That was just at our organization. The challenges that we face in the older adult services sector are great, but working together, those challenges can become opportunities for us all to work together toward a solution, because we are better together as a community. Did you know that 1 in 5 older adults living in Jackson County are food insecure? 1 in 10 live in poverty. 45% can no longer drive, and 1 in 3 cannot access public transportation. 31% live alone and face isolation. And the challenges go on and on. So how can we collectively improve this situation and address these challenges? It starts with each of us finding our part in the solution, whether that's through advocacy, volunteering, city planning, voting, or donating time or financial resources to make our community a great place for all ages. In just a moment, you'll see a short video about Shepherd Center and some of our volunteers. One program that I want to call attention to today, though, that's not featured because video footage is kind of hard to grab, is our Medicare Assistance Program, which utilizes over a dozen trained and certified volunteers to help older adults and their adult children navigate the complicated health system known as Medicare. Currently, they and staff are very busy working through Part D open enrollment, which runs through December 7th. This is a free service that is open to everyone. So if anyone in this room today needs assistance with this process, please stop by our Medicare table out front or call our office. Also, please help spread the word. I can't tell you how often we hear people say, I wish I'd known about Shepherd Center when I was helping my parents choose a plan. We are so grateful for our staff and volunteers who make this service available to our community. And now, let's watch the video. Shepherd Center is here to help people age in place with dignity, wherever that may be. as well as to empower and engage older adults in their community. We are really, really thankful and grateful for all the volunteer support that we have in this community.
On a good rainy day, we're getting ready to go out and deliver some meals to some people who can't get out and do their own. I've been doing this approximately 20 years. Joe is one of my favorite persons that I do give the home delivered meals to, and we've been friends for over 8 years.
How you doing? What's up? What's up? We've been friends for a long time.
We have been.
He's been getting me these flags for me.
Yeah, yep. I'm blessed, so hey, give it back. And as long as I have my 2 legs, 2 arms, you know, I'm gonna do it until I get to the point where physically I can't do it. Right now, hopefully that's a long way away.
Our programs that help people avoid isolation and get out and become involved are really invaluable. But if you can stay involved and have a purpose, you know, statistics show that people live longer, they live healthier, and they live happier. And by providing opportunities for people to engage with programs such as Adventures in Learning, we've seen a big shift in, you know, in people and their mobility and to get around in the community and form new friendships.
It is always better when we have people-to-people contact. It builds community, it builds collaboration, it builds empathy, it builds a sense of togetherness that we are desperate for right now.
Our Senior Companion Program matches people 55 and older with older adults in the community who need a little extra assistance to remain in their homes. It's a sense of family, and a lot of times the people that they're serving really become their family to some extent.
We do have a lot of fun. It's more like family. It's not really a job.
She's a nice person.
You know,
I appreciate it.
we love one another too.
That's right.
We love one another. Yes, yes.
And you can turn my hand loose.
Well, what's wrong with me holding your hand? See how you never know what she gonna say.
Shepherd Center is really moving toward intergenerational programming.
I'm Eve Bendit and I'm 12, but I'll be 13 in 12 days, but I'm not counting. Tonight is the intergenerational trivia game night to benefit Shepherd Center. Well, a lot of people don't realize how much their other generations know, and vice versa. In all the categories, each of the questions is centered towards a different generation. There's so many different things you can do to volunteer. I've been helping plan this, and if you're older, you can help at Adventures in Learning, and there's so many different ways to volunteer. Some older adults don't have the resources that they need, so if our community works together, then we can all help them for the greater good.
What can you do to help? Well, you can donate. You can get involved with the organization by volunteering, and most importantly, you can help spread the word of Shepherd Center. We need people to talk about the needs of the aging community in Kansas City. I want to get up every morning and know that what I'm doing makes a difference in my community. So that's really what drives me and my whole staff with that part. Six months ago, this event was just an idea. We want to extend a special thank you to Glenn Evans for their creative sponsorship in giving this idea life. Championed by CEO Sue McClure and led by Melissa Ashcraft, their team of 20 created both videos we've seen today, as well as the Brandmark original web landing page, and they also provided PR for this event. We truly appreciate all you've done and have enjoyed the journey we've had with you over the past months. Can you stand? Where are you guys? Thank you so much. It has been a pleasure to work with all of you. You may have noticed in the second video that not all of our volunteers are adults. We love intergenerational programming, and we're fortunate to have Adelaide Murray, who couldn't be here today, and Eve Bendent, two 12-year-olds who volunteer with Shepherd Center Central in the video. Together, they created our first Generations Trivia Night in late August at Union Station. Some 80 plus adults and kids of all ages joined that night to solve trivia questions that were written and presented by these two extraordinary young ladies, all while raising funds for Shepherd Center Central. Eve, can you please stand? Eve and Adelaide are simply amazing young ladies, and Adelaide, again, couldn't be here today, but we thank her for everything she's done. Thanks for being here today, Eve. As of last week, Shepherd Center is looking for a new home, as the house we currently occupy in Brookside and have since the early 90s will be sold in the coming months. With this need, we are kicking off a capital campaign in an effort to find permanent space where we can locate all three of our offices and have room to grow to allow us to better serve this growing population. We invite all of you to join us in this new adventure as, again, we are better together. One other thing that I want to mention, Marley Klum, one of our honorees and one of our good friends, skedaddled over here to me when I was standing on the sidelines watching the video. And she mentioned that we need to thank all the volunteer managers, and I know there are probably many in this room, and I know our volunteer manager, who is Rachel Housen, is here today as well, because volunteers typically don't just magically manage themselves and know what to do and when and where. It's these volunteer managers that day to day are searching for new volunteers, finding opportunities for the existing volunteers. So Marley, thanks for reminding me about that. So thank you to all the volunteer coordinators and managers.
Thank you very much, Pam, and everyone who put this together, all the staff, to your army of dedicated volunteers for all that you do. How lucky we are to have Shepherd Center helping older adults and their families in our community, and they're asking for your help now. So for many of us, it's impossible to check on our homebound parents or loved ones each and every day. You saw some of the volunteers how they deliver food, a nice warm meal, or a safety check, just how are you doing, just being with them. So what we'd like you to do for the next few seconds, please, another couple minutes. First of all, look around the room. It's amazing. So many people from so many different backgrounds come together to celebrate all the contributions our older adults make in our community, and they're being recognized finally. Thank you, Shepherd Center, for bringing us together, for honoring these wonderful, amazing people, and for helping us think differently about aging. So everyone, let's help keep the incredible momentum going. Shepherd Center needs your help, your support to continue delivering the important message to the community as they embark on a capital campaign and search for a new home. You can make an investment in Shepherd Center in the future by completing the contribution form on your table. So let's follow the example of generosity set by the honorees today. Help continue the incredible work of the Shepherd Center. No gift is insignificant. So if you'd like to donate, just take a few minutes right now to complete the donation form at your table. You can drop it in the basket on your way out. So we're gonna have about a 3-minute break.
Yeah, I think so.
Oops, oops, oops.
I was trying to, I think they skipped some stuff here that about, oh crap, about the honoree, about everybody who volunteered at this. Crap. Where is it? This is where we are right now. Right there, so you just want to point to it right now, okay? Yeah, okay. Okay, so one thing that I don't think I've mentioned so far is, in addition to Kelly's leadership and dedication to make this event happen today, are the the 70 volunteers that were also involved in this. It's funny that it was 70, but I want to thank all of them. And then also the planning committee. Where are you? Can you please stand? Megan Still is part of that planning committee, and she's the person who was responsible for designing the commemorative magazine and all the items at your tables. So I just want to make sure that we recognize those people that sat on our planning committee who helped through diligence and many meetings to make this event a success. Okay, so we're deviating a little bit. All right. So again, thank you all for joining us, and thanks to everyone who made an investment in Shepherd Center this afternoon. We hope that you will walk away not only thinking differently about aging, but ready to match that inspiration with ideas and actions that create powerful results in our community. Kathy Quinn, thank you for emceeing. Thank you to Joan Ruff and Paul Tasner for your powerful insights. Again, congratulations to our honorees. We hope to see you all next year when we celebrate the class of 2019. Watch our website to find out when we will begin accepting nominations. I leave you today quoting 12-year-old Eve Bendant, who already understands just how, can you roll back? Sorry, just how much better we are together. She said, "Some older adults don't have the resources that they need. So if our community works together, we can all help them for the greater good." Well said, Eve. Well said. Kansas City, together we can change the conversation around aging. It's about time. Thank you and enjoy the rest of your day.